My name is Joe Bertrand. My college experience has been pretty good so far. I wrestled 157. I was able to have a winning record in college this year, which is pretty fun. Also, I was a two-time state champion in high school, also a five-time All-American.
David Bertrand, King University wrestler, 15 years of wrestling experience, three-time state champion.
My name is Carlo, and I wrestle at King University. My biggest accomplishment in high school is having a 30-win season.
All right, let's get into it. So my name is Logan. I am a black belt under Samuel Braga, and we are going to do a voice commentary narration against three wrestlers who honestly probably thought they were going to whoop my ass. Okay, so the first guy right here, he's on top. His name is Joe. I think he might be a sophomore, maybe going into sophomore year. Doesn't matter. I know he wrestles 157, and he's two-time state Georgia champion. And so I know there's a couple things I'm not going to do. One is wrestle with the guy, and two is get beat in a wrestle match. I'm just going to play guard for starting out, and I was able to go like almost like a K-guard entry to get his hand posted on the mat and go to a quick triangle. He's probably never seen that before, and it's all good because it was just an honest mistake that he made. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. This is not, I don't even like to say it as a skill difference. It's just a knowledge difference. Who's to say that if somebody like Joe or any of these guys that wrestle put as many hours and years into jiu-jitsu that they wouldn't just like obliterate me, right? So let's not get it twisted. This is just what I like to think about is like my jiu-jitsu, my grappling experience versus their grappling experience. Okay, it's like a very humble approach, but I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm better because of this or I'm better because of that. This is just what I want the viewer to see is when you take jiu-jitsu serious against any athlete, jiu-jitsu will and can win. So Joe falls back in a footlock there. Really like something that I personally like tell my athletes not to do is fall back on footlocks. And it's just never a good idea because if you don't land it, then what, you know? But it just kind of it leads to his back being exposed, and you know, just me working my game on top, working for the back, getting my position, so on and so forth. You know, these guys are younger. These guys are probably not in wrestling shape like they would be in the season, but they're in 99% better shape than most athletes that you're going to find at a jiu-jitsu gym. So I'm not even going to give them that excuse. They're probably just not in like I'm on weight type, you know, ready to wrestle a whole tournament shape, but still in good shape regardless. Okay. A little bit of context at this point in time in my career. Right now I'm 33 years old. I've had a few like athletic altering surgeries, back surgeries, knee surgeries. So it's one of the main reasons I don't compete anymore. So days like this are super fun for me to get my hands on new guys who kind of have an idea of what they're doing, to see if, you know, I still got it. I know I do, but it's like, it's just a fun time. It's a fun challenge, and it's a fun test. So you guys can see like Joe is not really an offensive guard passer. It has nothing to do with the skill, like I said. It's just the knowledge, just the experience. So staying on his knees, he's vulnerable for a triangle, collar tie, and wrist control right to a triangle. He falls victim to it. A lot of the submissions that I might get on these guys in this whole roll are something that I might be able to land 2 or 3 times, and then once they grow wise to it, then it's going to shut down that opening. But this is really good because they can learn, right? Because they're so raw, and going with somebody who's done this for many years. So yeah, like there's no offensive guard passing going on. I'm just kind of laying on my side, being a little bit chill, being a little bit lax. Like in my mind, I was thinking like, let's entice him to make a move, right? Maybe I can catch something. And just like making an angle, trying to get him to base out. And he jumped on my foot again right here. He might be able to land that on some guys at his skill level, but you know, any decent guy is probably just going to come up on top and make him pay for that. and that's exactly what happened here. I went straight, defending the straight ankle lock to a leg drag, knee on belly to mount, and right here is like the beauty of jiu-jitsu. Okay, like you can take any athlete in the world, it doesn't matter what your athletic background is, and you put them on their back and they're not gonna have a clue of what to do. If you're on top, and like say you're decently skilled on top, let's say you're like a higher end blue belt who's done some competitions but do not have to be like a world beater, don't even have to do worlds or anything, but just like some type of good experience at blue belt. If you get on top of any individual in this whole entire planet, they're gonna have zero clue of what to do, and that's the reason. I mean, that's not this. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. The beauty of jiu-jitsu is that like the whole video. What I want to convey to the viewer is jiu-jitsu versus whatever. Doesn't have to be wrestling. Doesn't have to be in it. It could be CrossFit. It could be rugby. It could be anything. But if they step into our world and they accept the challenge, and then we're gonna find out like what wins, right? So Joe got in on the wrestle up right there, and I still have a grip of his chin. He leaves his arm a little bit out of position in between my legs, and the neck is open, so I just take what I can get, and I finish the submission right there. So that's the end of the round with Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Now let's get into my role with Thomas. Thomas is a 174, I do believe. New recruit to King University, staying here for the summer. So now I'll go Russian to like a 2-on-1 control to a reverse butterfly sweep, like knee shield butterfly. And surprisingly, that sweep works really well on a lot of wrestlers because they drive in when they're really not supposed to, and it kind of gives you the sweep. But I thought that was a pretty cool technique that I was able to hit. And we could see once again, like Thomas is not showing any real signs of trying to pass the guard. It's like on his knees, just hand fighting a lot. It's that typical brand new wrestler getting into jiu-jitsu style, right? There's nothing special about it. There's no crazy dynamic movements. It's just what they think they need to do in order to submit somebody or to stay away from submissions. Here I get Thomas's hands to the mat, so I'm able to get a really strong clinch to the shoulder clamp and be able to land it and execute it really well right there, straight into mount position. Thomas is trying to stay really active with his hips, so I mean that's a good thing, but it's like there's just a technical level there that is tough to do. If you just don't know how to get out from bottom, then you're basically, it's just useless. So all the way to the still fighting. We're gonna fast forward this, and here I'm able to keep working until I can get his elbows up and across his neck to finish the arm triangle. And then we restart with me on bottom, Thomas back on top, right to the guillotine from seated position, and right to an immediate finish. That's one of my go-tos with somebody who's trying to be low on top. Like if they're on their knees, I like to go arm drags, or I like to go guillotines from there. Those two things work really well. I feel like the guillotine for me works better than the arm drag, but it kind of just depends on how slippery they are. So now Thomas is working more of the game because Thomas has been training for, a couple weeks now, a few weeks with us at least. So he's stopping in when he has the time. And in that time, we've only been working headquarters into like a knee slice. So he's doing a good job, at least attempting to do what he's been drilling and learning. But it's just tough. Like that's all it is, and it lays to the opening to where I can just grab his head. If I can control the head, I can control the body and use it to sweep. I do feel a little bit of strength advantage with some of these guys. It might just be maybe I'm 10 years their elder, or maybe I've used to the isometric type of grappling style, like because wrestling's really not that isometric in most of the situations. It's more of explosive and being fast and quick, but jiu-jitsu, like you look at Gordon Ryan, he's not fast, he's not quick, he's fluid, and he's very isometric. So I think that's the main advantage when you talk about specifically wrestling versus jiu-jitsu. But if you flip-flop that and put a jiu-jitsu guy into a wrestling room, as bad as these wrestlers look like they're doing, the jiu-jitsu guy, I don't care if you're a black belt, generally speaking, the jiu-jitsu guy is going to suffer more than a wrestler. Like, if I was to go into a wrestling room, I know for one I would be not in that kind of shape. My body's not used to that hard type of practice as much anymore, and you know, I would have my hands full more than these guys have their hands full. So I never lose sight of that. I never lose focus of what the actual, like, the reality of the situation is. The reality is that they walked into my house, they want to train with us, they want to learn our sport that we're all doing, and that's jiu-jitsu. And so when they come in, some of the guys will wrestle with these guys. I'm not going to wrestle with them. I just want to do jiu-jitsu with them because I'm trying to test my skill set against their skill set. So that's the whole, like, premises of this footage right here. So now it's Dave. Dave is an MMA fighter. I think he's just really starting his amateur career. I think he's maybe 1-0, 2-0. But he's really, really strong. He's quite a bit bigger than me. So I have to like kind of avoid that. You know, that's a thought in my mind, is this guy's so big and strong. But there was like a reverse de la Hiva to Barambolo crab ride to the back, and he does a really good job of shelling up. We're gonna fast forward through here because I know it's a little bit longer. So I'll go chair sit, and then I'm working for the straight jacket, but he does a really good defense. I'm able to get his arm trapped in a way, but then he's able to turn, and then we'll play it. Now I have a triangle that I ended up getting from the back, and it's really tough to finish. The position itself is tight, but the choke actually isn't that tight right now. So in order for me to achieve the tap right here, because I felt like he might not give it to me, was to grab his leg and try to stretch him. And now I just kind of bridge my hips into it and squeeze, and I get the tap. Okay, so now this is interesting. I go omoplata. He has decent defense getting out of the omoplata, but I felt right there is so strong. So I have to go for the neck here and arm and guillotine, and I force the roll. So now I'm thinking either anaconda or switching to a darce, and that's what I do. That's a really good game. If what I tell my athletes a lot is, if they're going to wrestle you, you have to make them pay by diving on their neck. Diving on their neck and going for a submission, in my opinion, is not the best way to defend against a good wrestler. But if you need to do that, then that's something that you've got to do. There should be no hesitation in that. Your first thing obviously should be, you know, fight the head position, run the whizzer, sprawl your hips, all that kind of good stuff. But if that is too late, too far gone, then you should be diving on the neck. Like, without a doubt, you should be diving on the neck, because at the very least, maybe you get them to react and to roll and to flip, and now you're back on top, or now you're back in a position where you can defend the shot.